Yeah, also, not only that, did everybody pay attention to like the vision statements and that they put up there? Did everybody get a good idea on it? Because I know, as Heather knows me, I took screenshots of it too. Um, plus our vision statement that we have now, you know. Um, so if anybody needed to see it, I can put it up there just because that's just me. I need that visual.
Yeah. Were you taking pictures with your cell phone?
No screenshot from the.
That's what the high school kids do. They just take pictures with their phone. They don't take notes anymore.
Oh, nice. I do that sometimes too, actually.
Yeah.
In conferences, I'm like,
Yeah.
Don't forget, you know, when you were younger and you had your calculator and your teacher said you're not going to always have a calculator on you. You have your phone, right?
Liar.
all right. So discussion notes for vision statement.
I mean, just looking at it right now, I would say like the first and third bullet points seem redundant. I would hope that if you did the first thing, that would also lead to you having the ability to listen, speak, and write.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I assume we're going to scrap the whole thing, but if we had to like start from this and like do something with it, I would kill the last bullet point to make room for something new.
I'm sorry, what was that ability to read?
So like that last bullet, I
Like
think.
the third bullet point
Oh,
is redundant.
gotcha.
If the first bullet point was successful, that is.
I'm stuck at like, what are the best classrooms I've seen doing? I'm seeing, unfortunately, not everyone's personality, but just animation and engagement and kids interacting with one another about the whatever the central idea is, and STEM driven. We'll keep it STEAM, Rebecca, just for you. Keep those arts in there.
And it saves us on a word count.
Yeah, we just keep getting naughty on that one. I mean, when he was saying, who would you bring your this person to, I kind of in my head knew what I would say or where we'd go first.
So,
And
go ahead.
Adam.
No,
I was gonna and just being innovative and challenging, you know, the status quo with curriculum. There's so many different ways that we can, you know, teach about you know, experiences, history, or social justice, or, you know, it doesn't have to be you know, through your traditional, just like textbook reading and literature. I forget what country I was reading about. It could have been, I'm not even going to guess, but essentially it was how to get the arts. So Rebecca will appreciate this. Okay, I don't know why my phone is always thinking I'm talking to her. I'm sorry.
Mine does that too.
But I think Rebecca will appreciate this, where students, instead of just, you know, your usual, like for field trips, getting a bus and, you know, the logistics and coordinating and parent permission slips and all this, right? It's like using virtual technology, you know, or the VRs or IVR, whatever the Oculus thing is, right? You know, to be able to take children to a museum, or to be able to take in the arts or things that they just wouldn't have otherwise had access to. So kind of removing access barriers by really being innovative with our technology. And that goes for a whole slew of topics, but the arts come to mind since Rebecca's here.
So Tamika, would you say diversified?
I think that's a great way to diversify the curriculum, right? instead of the traditional ways of it just kind of being downloaded to students. It makes it more interactive, like by leveraging the technology, right? Um, and one of the things I know in my area, in corporate, we're looking at gamification, right? Like, how do we create this gaming atmosphere to key security, compliance, regulatory, you name it, ways to disseminate large amounts of information that people can kind of be engaged in. It just heightens the engagement and
Mhm.
curiosity, and it just kind of it challenges the norms of just your standard kind of textbook learning about
You just
history.
said it. Challenging norms.
I
Challenging norms.
I mean, you totally said it. And like in all, yes, yes, I like that. I put balanced learning opportunities, which I'm significantly less excited about than challenging norms.
Yeah.
Because while I say I believe in problem-based learning, some kids need direct instruction and really good instruction, and that's relevant to all of our students as well.
Mhm.
One thing that struck me in this pandemic with our board is every time we talked about where we were or checked in, there was this question of what can we learn from this, and like what new things can we embrace in the unknown of what we're experiencing right now. And I feel like that's not necessarily a new idea for the district. We've just never really put voice to that like that before. We're always looking for doing better, seeking more ideas, challenging norms. Adam, because I'm zoomed in, I can't unbold.
I got you.
I've lost my toolbar on the top. Hmm. So
So out of
maybe
curiosity, Tamika, that was great, challenging the norms there. Okay, but I'm gonna go from an employee of the district. Okay, from a board standpoint, a board member, and anybody else whose kids are in there, what is it you're looking for us to do?
Yeah, so personally, I'm looking for the district to, I like how it has rigorous curriculum up there. I would kind of go with Peter, where if we're providing an exemplary education, right, then exemplary to me would be a rigorous curriculum.
agreed.
So essentially providing that strong, rigorous curriculum that is leveraging state-of-the-art technology, experiential learning, making sure that they are data-driven curriculum to get them to think outside the box and be able to have facts to support what they are learning, to be able to challenge, identify and challenge things that they could, respectfully debate and challenge, right? To come up with their consensus, like we talked about earlier. And I think just ever more present for me, because I do recognize that my family personally represents, the 3% or so of African Americans here in Grays Lake. One of the things that drew me to the diversity committee and the board work was to really be able to be a part of the conversation to drive inclusion here and diversity and equity, and that comes in all forms. I think sometimes people just think people of color, but it speaks to able children versus disabled children, primary language. So it's the whole spectrum where I feel like we could do a better job infusing curriculum with diversity to create this holistic learning environment for our kids. So to Peter's example, if they never leave the bubble of Gray's Lake, right, at least they can have an awareness and appreciation for others around the world.
Mhm.
And some of these words that we're using for our vision can really be used for our mission as well,
Right.
Mhm.
to be honest with you, because I mean our mission is what are we gonna do as a district. So, and some of these are what are we? So that's kind of good too. It gives us a little bit more to think about. Makes it more difficult too.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess for me, it's also just setting the standard for what public education should be.
Mhm.
I was noodling around on my paper. I probably should have been paying attention, but it just, was on my spirit. It says, to be the leader in public education by fostering exemplary, diverse curriculum to empower future leaders to change the world.
Yeah.
So setting the standard. Setting the standard.
Or as Steve Jobs would say, put a ding in the universe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Prepare and motivate, or prepare and because we're trying to prepare our young people for what's to come. Beyond this district.
Mhm.
And what do we want to prepare them for?
What about
I would
capturing-
agree with that. Unfortunately, these kids are farther advanced than us in a lot of ways. Technology alone in itself, we learn from them.
Yeah. But some of those other things that I think we have and we possess that, we hold valuable, teaching the compassion, the empathy, the, inclusion and those types of things. Those are things we can help them with. Yeah, I agree with you completely. If I didn't have my 6-year-old to help me with tech, I don't know how I'd manage. But some of those other things that we've grown up with that we hold valuable, I think is, as a district, there's so much more than just technology. And I think it's, we as a district have to, include that part, because so much can be lost with the use of technology. We can't let them lose themselves as a person, right? Or as a human, as a community member, those types of things. So kind of meshing it all in together.
I couldn't agree more. I've got an 11-year-old that has lost touch with reality because he hasn't seen anybody in 10 months. So he's lost that ability of communication face to face.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
However, to play devil's advocate, we're seeing that pendulum outside of a pandemic. We're seeing that pendulum shift with very lacking interpersonal skills
Mhm.
and maladaptive coping strategies. We really, need to teach our students how to feel and navigate hard circumstances. And
Yeah.
I don't think I can put words to it. We're gonna
Like that real resiliency that we talked about in the mission statement. No, you guys are absolutely right. I mean, we had our first big snow last weekend, and I got my 13-year-old to finally just step away from the Xbox, and it wasn't willfully. It was like no,
Right.
You are turning it off and go outside and play in the snow.
Yeah.
And he had so much fun. I mean, they were out there literally almost frostbitten. They did not want to come back in, but it was like just making sure that we create opportunities for them to maintain that connectedness, right?
Mhm.
Outside of just tech.
Yeah.
So you
Connectedness.
just said something. Creating opportunities.
Mhm.
I like the word connectedness in there as well.
What you're speaking of is grit. The idea that you have circumstances that you come in contact with and you will not be beaten by them. That's grit. And every once in a while you see something about how we need to how do we teach kids that? And it is through struggle, and it is through failure, and it's through all those negative things. And I think we often think of those things that gave us grit.
Well, if I go down the psychological path, every evidence in teaching students how to overcome anxiety and stressful situations is repeated exposure to them, and expand on that, right? So that's the same kind of grit concept. You've got to give them experiences to challenge them, experiences of fails, that kind of like meeting meeting your stops or your new starts. I don't even know how to put words to that. I feel like I'm too tired at the moment to articulate well, but don't let the stop sign be the stop sign. It's just the pause button.
And that, to me, is what I would want of my students. I want the child who is disadvantaged intellectually to not give up, to break things into smaller pieces, and to build upon their success. Nor do I want the child who is at the highest end of aptitude to rely on the fact that they normally get it the first time.
Right.
I want to provide them with experiences, and I have several of my own kids. They would give up. No, I want to give you something that makes you struggle, because it is in the struggle that you will become better at whatever it is.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's well said.
Type that down, Adam.
Put that down.
I'm sorry. I was listening because it was like a complete poem that was just.
She's arts.
That was incredible. I don't know that I can.
I don't know that I can redo it. It's in the struggle.
It's
I said that in our most
it's in the recording.
I want to bring that recording back because that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But that's to me the essence of it. And I think what Heather has advocated for is for those who are often left behind intellectually and cast aside, and they'll never get it, and they just won't ever. And you've been their advocate, and no, they will, and they will grow. And all of us have those places where we need to grow.
Right.
And Rebecca, you bring up a really good point, because not only is it advocacy for the challenge, right, but it's also the advocacy for those that are high achievers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I know that our district doesn't have a gifted program. On my wish list, that's probably something I would like to see here as well, because I do think that it's important to meet the students where they are, right? And if our education is tailored to kind of meet in the middle, right, then we're losing some opportunity, both left and right of the bell curve.
Because you're not allowing those high achieving students to learn how to struggle and to overcome. Yes.
Face and learn how to. The example of that is my son's a 7th grader at Park, and he's doing really well with learning his foundational algebra skills. He's got my little brain. I'm a math girl too. And Mr. Fry is really good at doing this puzzle of the week or puzzle of whatever. And it makes them have to really, I remember growing up loving that stuff. It's solve this puzzle of the week. And he had an all out meltdown because he was so challenged by not knowing how to figure it out. And that's what stopped him, not the potential that he could get it wrong.
Right.
Get past that. I'm this is the purpose of it.
Right. What are those little parts? What are those patterns? What do you see that you can build on? Right.
Right.
Because then they become unable.
Mhm.
And we don't need anybody who's unable. There are so many gifted kids who are not achieving what their potential is because they haven't learned to struggle.
Mm. That's
Um,
fair.
Something hits me like the concept of being inspired by challenge.
Yes.
Say that again, Heather.
Inspired by challenge rather than afraid of it or deterred.
Well, isn't that a line out of that John F. Kennedy? Maybe it wasn't that same speech, but it was, why do we go to the moon? We
Yeah.
go because it's hard. That's
Yep.
why we go, because it's hard.
Wow, I'm impressed, Rebecca. We didn't even see the film and you knew it.
Well, because that's what I've been inspired by that. We don't need to go because
It's
hard.
a classic. I mean, that's exactly what he says, because it's hard. We're going to face these challenges.
And I just finished a book about the men on the moon. It was this thick, and about what all of them they did and the history of it. And I mean, I lived through it as a young child. I remember all of all of them going off, but it was
Sure.
an awful lot for them to figure out. A lot of little itty bitty problems that they had to problem solve.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? You just leave someone on the moon.
Well, I think
It's in the details, right, Rebecca?
That's it.
what I think about is, we're going to be building a strategic plan, and we're going to want to make sure that the targets of our plan are connected to our belief system. Will it align with the vision to get where we want to go? Right. And I think about in my own department, I've worked really hard to adopt this philosophy by Jimmy Casas, Culturize, which is every student, every day, whatever it takes. Every student has this really teacher in my department and related service has this really boring laminated sign up in their office or the classroom, and that's because we want the statement to stand alone, right? But we believe this philosophically in our decisions that we make. I've been in many IEP meetings where people are crying, the whole team is, because we don't know what to do, and we're saying that. But that's where the potential happens. That's where the possibilities happen. And everything we do as a department connects back to that philosophy that we believe every one of these students, whatever it takes, and every day. So I think we all are in a common place about these philosophies that we're talking about within this vision. And making sure that it's something that we really believe for every student. And I'm with you, Rebecca. Everything you said as beautifully as you did, I think really encapsulates all of that for all of our learners. Because we
that could be the district's preamble.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's recorded. We can rewind. Although I don't want to negate. Tamika, you said a whole lot of amazingness too with the leveraging state of of the art technology. I tried to get as much as I could down, but I mean, it was beautiful. Identify and challenge items that can be respectfully debated was built into there.
But you guys got a lot of great key.
So we got to get them down here, right?
Key concepts. And so I was going to say, so as much as you can in the few
We
minutes,
get in trouble every time.
if you can just identify some of those in that lower section, that would be awesome. Just because you've got a lot of really good material there. I mean, the brainstorming obviously has been going on, and seeing how we can make that then fit into a potential vision statement at some point.
Wow. Can I just copy and paste that part?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, if you're asking me, sure. Works for me. Okay, guys, I'm going to excuse myself. Let's get back to work. Thanks.
I think we really, and maybe I was just super excited about challenging norms, something related to challenging norms.
Yeah, I was just going to copy and paste that over though. Really?
Was that just me and Adam that were excited about that? It's okay to disagree with us.
No, I am too. I think something the pandemic has made me realize is just time, like not being locked into little blocks of time, you know, in the most engaging times that I've seen students at different schools, it's when they had more time to just explore with what they were doing. And they didn't have to suddenly stop, whether it was writing, art.
Yeah, that's the worst when you're like in it.
Yeah, even lunch and recess, not having to be blocked in this tiny little 20-minute span. So
Does this kind of tell you capturing the moments or the learning moments without parameters, or can't
yeah,
parameters
Learning without borders.
without borders? Every time I copy and paste, it moves me. I'm sorry, guys. I think we get the hang of this 5 things now. We're getting better.
We may actually get 5 things this time.
We're not stuck in wordsmiths. Where's my cursor? Adam, you're gonna have to do it. I cannot get
What are you trying to do, Heather?
Addo number 4. Every time I push return, it disappears on me.
Whoa. Oh, that's why.
Oh, are we on a different page now? That's why.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
I have a side screen and I can't really see the cutoff of page.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a new visitor.
We have lots to say.
You know what? Hold up a second here. Oopsie. Okay, let's try it.
Okay, good.
Better?
Thank you.
Still stuck on that
We
rigorous
have to get
curriculum.
back to Rebecca, something about we want students to face and learn how to struggle and not rely on the attainment of new knowledge.
How do we reword that though? So it's
I
under.
think we did. I think
don't have
right
to-
underneath this says inspired by challenge.
Yeah, we don't have to make it sound pretty. We're just sharing the big idea of it.
Inspired by challenge.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that gets at the essence of what we're saying.
Mhm.
Inspired or inspiring by challenge.
I would say inspired.
Oh, inspired. It's right under that, the struggle, if you wanted to copy paste.
I mean, that might even be quality for the mission statement too. It's one of those that could go, I think,
Right.
either place.
What about connect something with that connectivity, diversity, interrelationships, interpersonal relationships, maybe.
Yeah, maybe being intentional about creating connectivity.
With others or with one another.
Mm-hmm. So, yep.
You
So
got it, Adam, or no?
purposeful
Uh,
connections with others, or intentional connections
like
with
that.
others.
Purposeful and meaningful.
Mm-hmm. And since we made it to 5 on time, can we? I just thought about this, so I'm thinking about it through equity and inclusion lens for number 3. And would borders be offensive? It kind of rolled off the tongue, like learning without borders,
Right.
but
Maybe
I
boundaries
wouldn't want that
instead.
to.
Or
Yeah,
limited.
boundaries. I like
Limitation.
that. Good job, Peter.
What boundaries?
Yes,
Sure.
Limitation.
Yeah.
Without limited.
Limitation.
Or without
Either of them. I would just do
Limitation?
one or the other. Limitations or boundaries.
I think I like limitations. General
I
consensus.
think I do.
limitation sounds good.
It's all good.
I think boundaries makes it feel like you're enclosed. Without limitations,
Yeah.
As Tony Montana would say, you've got the world at your hands.
I will never let you forget that you quoted Tony Montana. All right. I'm putting these into the
You're
This
putting
guy.
it in the other. Okay, I've got the other one.
this is the one, right? Yeah, vision. Are we ready to submit? I
Let's
don't
do
know
it.
when we're supposed to be back. Dr.
Who's
Wolf,
speaking, Heather?
what's that? Oh, I think Rebecca.
I did
I
it last.
Oh, you did. You did.
Mhm.
Anyone else want to jump off the? No?
I'll pipe in.
Okay.
Share the wealth.
Yeah, I think he said 8:45, didn't he?
It was 8:40 or 8:45, or might have even been 8:50.
Down 8.
It was recording.
8:40. It was
Oh, we're
8:40
late?
late.
Oh, so
All
we're
right,
not.
bye, guys.
Okay.
See you on the side.
Right, we'll see you.